not comply. Words to live by from the Daily Mojo.
His name is Phil Bell. He's the Director of External Affairs over at freedomworks.org. And how you been, buddy?
Doing okay. I actually had a great time yesterday because we had our big symposium on central bank digital currencies at FreedomWorks. And It was pretty well attended, people in person and online. So talking about important issues and having some great food. The food was the most important part. The issues matter too.
Absolutely. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. You guys are still in the same place that you were when we were there in, wow, that's been 5 years ago, Ron.
Yeah, it has.
But you're still in the same building, right? You've been
We're in the
there
same
for
building.
Okay.
So I think because that was the first year when you came there was the first year, 2018. Now we have two floors. So the sixth floor where you were and the fifth floor below that. So we have more space to, towards the left.
Good. Yeah, more space for freedom. We will take every bit that we can. Yeah, this so turnout was good for it. Did the weird thing about all of the digital currency and all this digital stuff, the central bank and all of that, is the fact that it seems, again, Orwellian. Right. It's very Orwellian in its scope. I mean, no one ever thought that there would be a plan for I guess there were some people, but most didn't think that the federal government would be at the point where they're going to be spying on every damn thing you do with your money, in your home, and everywhere you go. But this new, what is it called? The FedNow real-time payment system.
Yeah.
It sounds convenient.
Yeah, well, it's going to be widely adopted because most people want what? We want automatic payments. We want them to go quickly. And we've all been there. You make a reservation somewhere, you cancel it. Oh, well, we can't send you your money back for 4, 5, 10, 15, 30, 45 days, whatever excuse they give you. But theoretically, this new FedNow system, which they call a payment rail, and as some of the articles describe it, just as the plumbing between banks that makes money go back and forth, is supposed to cure a lot of that and make it so that transactions can be instantaneous. And they can also take place over the weekends and in evenings. So all of that sounds really good. Now, I want to be upfront. Right now, almost all the payment systems we use currently run through the Fed. But what makes this easier, what makes this different is that because it's instantaneous, because it is making all of the financial institutions even more closely interlocked, that's what sets the stage for the command and control that we're worried about.
See, the thing with the whole instantaneous stuff, I've been dubious about this for some time now because in the world of banking, like when you go and deposit a paper check at your local bank, well, we've got to hold on to this for 10 days to make sure that isn't it true that they go into their little computer, go, oh, yep, there's the money, ploop, it's here. I mean, isn't it? They can see whether or not this stuff is legit right then and there. They don't have to wait 10 days before they credit your account. They're just sitting on that cash to earn some nice interest income.
Correct.
Am I right?
A lot of the reason why that happens. A lot of the reasons why the companies don't necessarily want to give you a refund immediately, so they do blame it on the Fed. A lot of it is them.
Right.
But part of it is the way that they call it batching the transactions with ACH. And you've probably heard of ACH, which is the automatic clearinghouse, or at least seen that when you go to deposit a check. Basically, the way that works is they take a lot of transactions and then run them at one time. So just think of it as waiting for the garbage can to fill up before you take it outside, rather than taking it outside after each thing that you put in. So this is designed to eliminate the batching process and the time taken. But like I said, the point is ultimately, if you go to the FedNow website, which is explore.fednow.com, you'll see that there is more than just transactions here. It has the ability to transfer securities, the ability to process checks, the ability to do all of these things. And you say, well, why does that matter? Who is it that currently does all these things? Banks, brokerages, and so on. So ultimately, right now, you're dealing with a private institution that ultimately works through the Federal Reserve or other clearinghouses in order to transact business. Pretty soon, if this gets traction, you'll be dealing directly with the Fed. That means your money will be the government, resting with the government, and managed by the government all the time. And if you think that's Orwellian, well, you're right, because it is.
Wow, but it's such a slick looking website. It's got like a high speed train over on one side and like a
build, by the way. Yeah.
Right, and a nice city of the future over on the right hand side. I mean, this looks like a future I'd want to be a part of and want to explore. They always make it look so sexy.
Oh yeah, now look real close. That's actually a 15-minute city, so you might be in it, but you can't go beyond 15 minutes and see your friends that are 20 minutes away. And I know your audience knows all about that, but that's for another episode.
Yeah, it's they I'll give them this. They're really good at propaganda.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't created a little cartoon character for this yet. Like Vapey.
Right.
Remember Vapey the Vapor that came out and was like, "Hey kids, you don't want to be vaping. Don't be sucking on me." Ha, kids. I'm sure they're going to come out with some.
Do you remember Julia? Julia, The Life of Julia? That was in the Obama era because they wanted to convince people that Obamacare was really nice. So Julia was, of course, a single mother who had every problem in the book. But luckily, Julia could go to Obamacare and get all of these problems solved, much like FedNow is going to solve every problem you have with your money, except you're not having any. That they won't claim to solve.
Huh. I did not remember Julia, but there she is over there.
Life of Julia.
Yeah, and this is the Washington Post. That's interesting. Yeah. Obama's Julia ad and the new hubby state. This is back from 2012. Obama campaign's new interactive web ad, Julia. Wow. That's well, yeah. So I'm kind of surprised that they haven't not yet come up with a little cartoon character mascot for FedNow. So the bottom line for this is just another way for them to get their grubby paws on your cash. Am I right? Control?
Correct. Because the ultimate goal of the central bank digital currency, the ultimate goal of FedNow, is to take away physical cash. Because at the end of the day, yes, do they know, can they check and say, well, hey, you withdrew $200 from your bank account. Sure, that went away. But what did I do with that $200? I went and I paid the kid that mows the lawn. I went and I gave a few to the guy on the corner. I did a lot of those things. None of that cash can be tracked, nor should it be, nor do I want it to be. But when it all becomes digital, it will be trackable everywhere. But most importantly, it will be very, very easy to tell you what you can and you cannot buy. So if you think back to some of the movies where things get really scary, really Orwellian, really dystopian, what always happens? You are not able to buy and sell what you want where you want. You think about the social credit system in China. Oh, well, if you don't have a certain score, you can't get on the train. Well, how do they know that you have a certain score? How will they stop you from getting on the train? Well, you can't just hand the conductor $50 and say, hey, can I ride? No, you have to scan that card or scan that phone. And in absence of your ability to do that, you can't travel, and therefore you're stuck. So FedNow and ultimately the digital dollar will give them that capability, which is why we have to stop it now.
Interestingly enough, down at the bottom, it says that this site is a product of the Federal Reserve Banks. Yes. And it's the Federal Reserve Financial Services. How soon do you think that this will come to fruition? I mean, how soon is paper money going away, in your opinion?
I would say unless grassroots activists, and that means every American acts, I could see it gone within about 10 years. And so you have to think about, think about it. Now, what happens currently when things get out of whack in the financial system? They have to raise interest rates, lower interest rates, give you a stimulus check, raise taxes, do a lot of these things. What if that could be done with a few clicks of a mouse pad and suddenly $500 disappeared from your account because the economy was too hot. Or if someone wanted to make a campaign promise like Joe Biden and get reelected, they could, shove $500 into your account 2 days before the election. Well, this enables them to do that. Those needs are very, very important to them. So within 10 years, absolutely that could happen.
Yeah, my biggest concern is that people will become so enamored of the convenience of something like this that they'll go, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. And they've already got access to my money anyway. And, let's just give it a shot. That's going to be what we're fighting against. And I'll admit that in the past, before I wised up to their cunning ways, back when I was a Ute, I always thought it would be cool to have the little, the implant. Boop. It would be simpler. Right. You don't have to carry anything with you. But these tyrants they're evil, and the fascinating thing to me about this is, they want money, they want paper money to go away, but they won't do a damn thing about the penny. How much longer are we going to waste money minting pennies and nickels and dimes? Pennies are just a huge waste of money and energy and time. What the hell? They cost more to create than they're worth, aren't they?
Absolutely, they are. I think it's what is it? I think it's maybe 2 or 3 cents or somewhere there to create a penny. I can't remember the exact number. But right. The bigger problem, and this actually you hit on something that's really interesting. When you look at what happens when empires or nations start to fall, the first thing they do is debase the currency. So in years past, what did that mean? Whereas it might have been a silver piece was what you would transact your business in. Now they would start to, coat it in silver, but have copper inside, because that cost the government less to make. Therefore, they could make the money for cheaper, but you'd still think it was worth the same thing. Now, this is going to give the ability to devalue that dollar or revalue that dollar anytime without having to go through that process. That is an example of a nation in decline. That's why that should matter to everybody here and why it has to be stopped. Our decline has to be stopped, and the tools of that decline must be stopped as well.
And one of the best ways to help get involved in the fight, of course, is to join the crew at FreedomWorks. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, these are difficult things to explain. Nobody thinks about payment systems and payment rails and plumbing between banks. But it's important and it all matters. So go to freedomworks.org, join us as a supporter, but then also go and read the articles. We have a lot of great things there, either that we create ourselves or that are from around the internet, to talk about what's going on in our country. All of it matters to you. And this is a great point. Step one is getting educated. That's the best place to take that step.
And just real quickly before I let you go, I didn't realize until yesterday that they didn't just raise the debt ceiling. They eliminated the ceiling until the end of next year. Am I right about that?
Correct. Yeah. There
is no ceiling.
And so that's what they've wanted to do for a long time, is actually eliminate it completely. But this is the problem. Again, you got to make sure that the people, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, are hearing from you, and you say, no, I never get my debt ceiling raised, not unless I go out and earn more money. So why the federal government is doing that and making it nearly unlimited is insane.
Well, it is unlimited technically. I mean, there's no ceiling, so they can do whatever the hell they want now. Good for them. Good for them. I'm going to try not to take a bath with a toaster. Phil Bell, the director of external affairs, right?
Get their credit card and let's go to Vegas. All right, let's do that.
Right. I'm down with that. The director of external affairs over at freedomworks.org, Phil Bell, great to talk to you again. And again, next week, we'll continue to fight the tyranny.
All right. Have a great week.
See you, Phil.
You too.